What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing an Exodia deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful deck that's currently one of my favorite decks to play. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, come for our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing one each of all of the Exodia pieces. You have to play them all at one in this deck so that you can reveal them with your copy of Millennium Ankh to be able to summon out the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. Because my deck contains no pathetic cards, but it does contain the unstoppable Exodia. We then play 3 copies of Heart of the Blue Eyes. Heart of the Blue Eyes is definitely a 3 of in the build because this card can actually search out your copy of Millennium Ankh by discarding this card, which is an awesome ability to instantly get to your copy of Millennium Ankh so you can summon out the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. This card is always treated as a Millennium card as well, which is an important fact to keep in mind about this card so that you can search it out from the deck. We then play 3 copies of Sinijin Wakes from a Millennium. This card is awesome in the deck as a 3 of because this card can actually be placed in your back row as a continuous spell card, and then you can either reveal a copy of Millennium Ankh or pay 2,000 life points to be able to move this card into the monster zone, which is a cool effect to instantly get this card out on your side of the field. And if this card is special summon, you actually get to add a Millennium monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to add any of the Millennium monsters that you need, from Shield to Blue Eyes to anything that you need off this card's effect. We then play 3 copies of Shield of the Millennium Dynasty. Shield is a definite 3 of in the build and has an awesome ability that you can actually place this card in your back row as a continuous spell card directly from your hand, and then you can either reveal Millennium Ankh or pay 2,000 life points to be able to move this card into the monster zone, just like your copy of Sinijin. And this card, when it's special summoned to your side of the field, lets you actually add a copy of Millennium Ankh from your deck to your hand, instantly getting to our card so we can summon out our copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. We then play 2 copies of Golem that guards the Millennium Treasures. Golem is an amazing 2 of in the build, and just an awesome card overall in this deck to be able to search out your copy of Yugioh Temple directly from your deck to your hand when you move this card from your spell and trap card zone into a monster zone. It also gives you an awesome ability that the activation of your Millennium Ankh cannot be negated, which is an amazing ability to protect your plays. We then play 3 copies of Lava Golem. This deck really doesn't have a normal summon, so this card comes in extremely handy to be able to tribute 2 of your opponent's monsters, to be able to summon this card to your opponent's side of the field, so that we can attack into it with our copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. We then play 3 copies of Dimensional Shifter. Shifter is definitely a 3 of in the build and just an awesome card overall to be able to basically just send this card to your graveyard. If you don't have any cards in the grave, you can basically just use this card to be able to send it to the graveyard and then basically make sure everything's going to get banished. And against certain matchups, this card instantly wins you the duel, which is absolutely insane. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3 of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is really good in this build to help you just dig into the deck for the exact card that you need. We play a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is great in this build as a 1-of because we actually play 2 different field spells in this deck. So this card helps us either get to Secret Village or a copy of Yugioh Temple. We play a single copy of Set Rotation. Set Rotation is awesome in this build as a 1-of to basically set our copy of Yugioh Temple to our opponent's side of the field and get us a Secret Village to lock down our opponent. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is awesome in this deck as a 1-of just to stop your opponent's hand traps. We then play a single copy of Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is really good as a 1-of as well in this deck to basically bring out your copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict, which counts as a Millennium monster, to basically give you an additional copy of Called by the Grave to protect your plays. We then play a single copy of Obliterate Blaze. Obliterate Blaze is insane as a one-of-the-build and helps you OTK your opponent, because one level 10 or higher monster on the field with Exodia in its original name gains the effects that you can actually pay half your life points to destroy as many cards in the spell and trap card zone as possible, and then equip all 5 of the Exodia pieces from your hand or deck to that monster as equipped spells that each give it a 2,000 attack point boost, basically making it so your copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate goes up to 10,000 attack points before it boosts itself up even higher to make it absolutely massive so you can OTK. And also it gives your copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate piercing damage, which is crazy. We then play 2 copies of Secret Village. Secret Village is really good at locking down your opponent, because this card has a really cool ability to basically just make it so as long as you control a spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate spell cards, which is absolutely crazy because our copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate is actually a spellcaster, meaning as long as we have it on our side of the field, our opponent cannot activate spell cards. We then play 2 copies of Yugioh Temple. Yugioh Temple is great as a 2 on the build, but you really only need 2 copies of this card. This card has the ability during the main phase, you can actually place a monster from your hand in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous spell card. Then place a Millennium monster from your deck in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous spell card, which is a great ability because you can even use hand traps with this card to place something in your back row like a copy of Lava Golem or Shifter that you really don't need in the back row so that you can basically just go in for your plays, making this card a definite 2 of the build. But you only need 2 copies of it because you can search it off your copy of Set Rotation, Terraforming, and even Golem, meaning this card is absolutely insane, but 2 copies is really all you need. We then play 3 copies of Millennium Ankh. Millennium Ankh is what the entire deck is based around, and this card is absolutely insane. You basically reveal all 5 of your Exodia pieces in your hand deck and or face it from the field, and then special summon 1 copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate from your extract. Then shuffle the face-up monsters you control into the deck, except a copy of Exodia monsters and your copies of your Millennium cards, which is a really cool ability to basically just instantly get your copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate out on your side of the field. And also you cannot summon for the rest turn after this card's activation, and you shuffle this card into the deck instead of sending it to the graveyard, which is a really cool effect so you can use it all over again to summon out another copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate on the follow-up. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Angel Statue. Angel Statue is really good as a 1-of in the build to basically just use this card with your copy of Sybil Hat Rabbit to give you a special summoning negate. We then play 2 copies of Exode Fires of Rage. This card is absolutely crazy as a board wipe because your copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate can instantly get to this card, and this card is the ability. This card is always treated as an Exode and an Obliterate card, and if you control a level 10 or higher Exodia monster, you destroy all cards your opponent controls, meaning you can use this card as a disruption to destroy everything on your opponent's side of the field. So on the follow-up, we can just swing in with our copy of Exodia Incarnate to go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is an amazing 3-of in the build to basically just use this card as a monster negate, and it's just an awesome hand trap overall to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with our main boss monster, the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. This card is absolutely insane. It has 5 different effects and requires all 5 of your Exodia pieces to make this card, but you're always summoning this card off of the Millennium Ankh, meaning all you have to do is activate Millennium Ankh, show all 5 pieces of Exodia, and then instantly summon out this big boss monster to your side of the field. This card's 5 different effects is it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Once per turn, if this card battles during damage calculation, you can make this card gain attack equal to your life points permanently. Once per turn, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, quick effect, negate the activation, basically stopping one of your opponent's spells and traps activating, and once per turn, during the end phase, you can actually set an Exode or an Obliterate spell or trap directly from your deck to your side of the field, which is an insane ability to get Fires of Rage or Obliterate to your side of the field, so that you can go in for game. And the only bad effect on this card is once per turn, during your standby phase, you lose 1,000 life points, which is an insane ability, but this card is absolutely insane, and usually when you summon this card out to your side of the field, you're just going to OTK your opponent, unless you're going first, where you're locking down your opponent with Secret Village plus this card to basically make it so that your opponent can't play, because all they can activate is monster effects, and this card can't be destroyed by card effects, meaning it's going to be very tough for your opponent to get around this card. With my single copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict, this card is a Millennium monster, which is really weird, but really cool, because you can actually use this card with Instant Fusion to use it basically as an additional copy of a Called by the Grave to give you a little bit of protection. We can play a single copy of Psychic End Punisher. Psychic End Punisher is great in the deck as a one-of, because this card can gain some insane attack points to help you go in for game in this deck, because you do have cards that just basically just pay life points over and over again, so this card can get absolutely massive to help you go in for game. We can play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon's just a great option in the deck overall to be able to make going second, so you can basically summon this card out to your side of the field and make it a skill drain for 3,000 or higher attack point monsters. We can play a single copy of Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess is great to be able to use against your opponent, because you basically just link away one of their cards, which is really good. And like a single copy of Access Code. Access Code comes out absolutely massive and helps you go in for game because it can pile multiple cards on the field. And like a single copy of Selene. Selene is really good as a one-of in the build to basically just use this card so you can step into your copy of Access Code. And like a single copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix is great because this card pops spells and traps on the field. One copy of the Earth Charmer because our Millennium monsters besides Blue Eyes are all Earth. So this card is really good in the deck as a one-of. We have a single copy of SP. SP can be able to use as this card as a double interruption, meaning this card is really good in the deck, and overall one of the most broken link monsters currently in the game. Like a single copy of Silver Hat Rabbit. Silver Hat Rabbit is just really good overall in the build to be able to make on your side of the field, so you can set your copy of Angel Statue to your side of the field. And like a single copy of Moon of the Closed Heaven. Moon works really well with their copy of Underworld Goddess to be able to link two monsters away to summon out your copy of Underworld Goddess to your side of the field. Finally, play a single copy of Relinquished Anima. Relinquished Anima is great in the deck as a one-of and just a really good option overall to help you link your opponent's cards away and basically just gobble them up with this card, which is just absolutely insane. But everything for your link monsters is basically just toolbox anyways. You're usually just summoning out your copy of the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate, because my grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, but it does contain the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. So, that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. If you guys have never played in a Millennium deck before, or an Exodia deck like this, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's currently one of my favorite decks to be able to play, and it's absolutely crazy how powerful this deck actually is. It's super fun to be able to make some insane boards with this build, and it's just absolutely crazy how powerful it actually is. So, that's good for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.